Hi, guys. Tell me if it's working. Give me some hearts or some likes or something, comments, and let me know if this is working. I'm very excited. I think I've got it figured out this time. How's everybody doing on this gray, dreary morning? Spring is coming. We can feel it, but it's still really cold. Um, every morning I go for a walk with the dogs, and I'm waiting for the morning where I don't need to wear gloves. Very excited about that. So in about 8 more minutes, we're going to start our Facebook Live. So, like I said, give me some hearts or some likes just so I know you're there with me and can see and hear me. So, as we wait, I'll give you a little history about me. So, um, today's top, today's topic is near and dear to my heart. I started out with Akitas, not known not known for their great obedience. So I had a dog who semi came when called. Um, he he as he got older, we got better, and I became a better trainer, and his recall became better. But my goal in life was always to run him off leash in the bush. So I have spent the last 20 years working on how to get all dogs able to run off a leash in the bush. Now, I won't lie to you. If you have a dog who has a heavy history of taking off, there may not be a way you'll ever be comfortable with him in the bush. The reward history for him taking off is high. But I have lots of great suggestions to get your dog exercised and outside and running and you being comfortable that will make life much better for both of you. So I don't want to get started early because I know there's people who are going to join us at 10 o'clock. So please introduce yourself, say hello, ask me some questions, and we'll wait another 5 minutes to get started. So let me ask you some questions to get us started. Who wants to run their dog off in the bush or off leash and isn't able to? Who already does, walks their dogs every day off leash? What issues, what concerns do you have? Does your dog stick around? Are you constantly calling him? What's going on with that? Everybody's expectations of what they expect when their dog runs off leash is different. Um, I have a lot of area to run my dog, and so my dogs don't always stick real close, but they're really, really comfortable in that area, and I'm very comfortable. So I don't mind if they wander a little further. I am confident they're never so far that they can't see me, but sometimes I can't see them. If I was walking places where there could be other people and other dogs, I would expect them to stay much closer. So only you can figure out what you're comfortable with and what you're not. Um, that distance, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this, but that distance is what I call your invisible leash. Your dog will naturally have a shorter invisible leash when you're in a place that's unfamiliar, and naturally have a longer invisible leash in a place where you're familiar, where you walk every day. You want to make sure you're comfortable with your invisible leash distance. My Siberian's invisible leash, I'm pretty sure, was about 1 kilometer, which was never acceptable. I did work really hard, and his recall was actually spectacular, but I could never shrink his invisible leash. Part of me would like to get another Siberian and try it again. I have seen a lot of Siberians off leash in places like off leash parks, and they're really good. But the thing that keeps them close probably is other dogs playing, or they've been going their whole lives and their invisible leash has been shortened. So this is all sort of stuff we're going to talk about a little more. So again, a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Please let me know you're here by giving us some likes, and feel free to ask me some questions or introduce yourself and your dog so I know a little more about you. So 2 more minutes and we'll get started. Hi, guys. Welcome to our Facebook Live. For those that don't know me, my name is Paula and I own Shake-a-Paw Dog Training. We are a dog training facility in South Mountain, Ontario, which is near Ottawa. Today's subject is going to be walking your dog off leash. So, when most people start working on their dog going off leash, and I see this a lot with people with puppies or young dogs, they think that means you go out, you let them go, and you call them every 10 seconds and reward them. And there's 2 different skills there. One is come when I call you, and one is don't leave. The don't leave skill I called building the invisible leash. When puppies come to you, their invisible leash is really strong. Mother Nature put that in so that puppies don't wander away from their mama and get hurt or lost or whatever could happen to a puppy. So Mother Nature put that in. At approximately 5 months old, Mother Nature put in disperse. So that means the dog starts wandering further and further. If they were wild animals, this is adolescence. This is leave what you know, go somewhere new, and would prevent all the puppies inbreeding once they became sexually mature. I get puppy calls all the time. Um, I live in the country. People have approximately 1.5 to 2 acre lots a lot, and they don't want to put up a fence. It's really expensive to put up a fence. It ruins the look. Lots of reasons. And they say to me, oh, no, no, my puppy never leaves the property. Oh, no, no, he's wonderful. I hear that all the time. And almost like they pull out the calendar and check off a date. They hit 5 months old and they start going off property. So this is how that starts to get built. You let your dog off, he doesn't leave your side. You call him, he comes, and sometimes he doesn't, but there's really not a lot going on. Your puppy sticks close. So that goes on for, you pick him up at 2 months, so that goes on for about 3 months. At 5 months old, he's already starting to go further and further, but now he starts to go far enough that you start to panic. With one of my clients, it was starts to go towards the fence, which he could easily fit through, that had horses on the other side. So it could potentially be dangerous to the puppy. With another one of my clients started going across the street to visit the neighbor's dog. They just start going, oh, what's out there? And don't care so much about staying with you. So now, not only is the invisible leash stretching, you are also starting to destroy your recall, because you're calling and you're calling and you're calling, and your dog comes whenever or doesn't come at all. Eventually they do come, because we can always catch our dogs when they're that age, and we give them a cookie. So now you are reinforcing the really crappy recall on top of all that. So here's a couple of things I want you to think about. The worst place to teach your dog to stick around is your own backyard, or anywhere where they're familiar. The best place is somewhere where they're completely unfamiliar. Every dog has a natural invisible leash. Hounds are going to have much longer invisible leashes than, let's say, herding breeds. Retrievers have much shorter invisible leashes than, let's say, your Spitz breeds, such as your Siberian Husky. That's natural, and you can help their invisible leash, but there's not a whole hell of a lot you could do about genetics. But there's a lot you could do to shorten and strengthen that invisible leash, so when they hit 5 months old, it doesn't tear. So you want to go, I like doing this either in a forest with big enough trees that I can hide behind, but I find it works best in a big open field. You go to a big open field. If you're at all uncomfortable, let your dog drag a long line, depending on the size of the dog. Get a really light line and make it 20, 30, 40 feet long, whatever you need to be comfortable and not panicked. Because the more you panic, the less this is going to work. Make sure the big open field is either fenced or has natural barriers that your dog can't get into traffic, can't go somewhere where there's kids playing, can't get away from you. So you put them down in this field and you walk away. Usually when people put their puppies down, they watch the puppy. And then the puppy wanders and they follow the puppy and they watch the puppy some more. And they do that for the whole walk. So the puppy learns, I can go ahead and amuse myself. You're right there all the time. Whenever I need you, I just look around and there you are. You are trying to create, if you don't pay attention, I disappear. So you let them go, you wander away from them. Depending on the dog, depending on the history, it may take 20, 30 feet, but all of a sudden your puppy's going to look up and go, oh, I'm all by myself, and run over and run towards you. When your puppy does that, you're like, yay, you have a great time. You give him some cuddles, kisses. You could even give him a cookie. And then you walk away again. And then you walk away again. And then you walk away again. The more you do this, and when I bring a puppy home, I start this when they're 8 weeks old. As soon as they know me, I start playing this. As soon as they know this, you will see them start to pay attention. So they'll run off, they'll go for a sniff, and then they're like, where are you? And they look at you. And if you're coming towards them, they'll stay with their sniff. But if you're going further away, they chase you down. Every single time your dog picks you over whatever distraction they were looking at, chewing, whatever, your dog is strengthening that invisible leash. You're reinforcing that need to keep an eye on you at all times. The next step is you take this dog into the forest and you do the exact same game, only hide behind trees. The reason I suggest you start with a field instead of in a forest is because it's much harder to see your puppy when you're hiding behind trees. And everybody wants to keep an eye on their puppy. As much as you need to play this game and your dog needs to lose sight of you, it makes your life much easier if you can keep an eye on him, because nobody wants to lose their puppy. What if they wander away? What if something grabs them? You know, all the scary things we can think of when it comes to our poor little puppies. So now you play this game in the forest, and you keep playing this game in the forest throughout their first year. With my Akita, he would know as soon as like when you walk in the forest, you hear the crunching of the leaves. As soon as I stopped crunching, he would appear next to me because he knew we were playing the game. And he always had one brain cell paying attention to me. And that's exactly when you want. Go ahead, run, enjoy, do whatever you want. But when I call you, I need you to come. And for that to work, they need to have one brain cell always kind of paying attention to you. So that's what I do with puppies. But what if you have an adult dog who already has the open front door, run out door, and run away as fast as I can? So now you're going to find somewhere that's fenced. Places I've used is somebody else's fenced yard. Again, you want to do this in somewhere where your dog is not familiar and not comfortable. If you can't do this in your own backyard, because you don't want to teach your dog to always watch you in your own backyard, because you want to go sit and have dinner and have friends over and your dog go off and do his own thing. So you could use somebody else's fenced yard. Sometimes around here, they leave the hockey rinks up all year long. So the hockey rinks are perfect to use in the summer. Sometimes you can find tennis courts that are fully fenced and not locked. So there's a variety of options you can use. I have high value treats that are throwable. That means they need to have a little bit of weight on them. So I like to use frozen meatballs, and I cut them in about 4. Unless you have a really tiny dog, I cut them in about 4 because they have a nice weight so you can throw them. And you walk into the fenced in area, you close the gate, and you let your dog go. With most dogs, I'm going to let him drag a 6-foot leash behind him so that there's never going to be an issue of having to go over and try to catch them. And you let them run around. You ignore them completely and you wander around. As you wander around, you're just watching your dog. If he comes within 5 feet of you, he doesn't have to stop. He doesn't have to slow down. He doesn't have to look at you. But if he comes within 5 feet of you, you try to throw a meatball at the center of his head. So you try to hit him right between the eyes. You run over, you don't run over, sorry. You just throw the meatball. If he stops and picks it up, great. If he doesn't stop and pick it up, no big deal. You walk over, you pick it up, you do it again. And you just keep doing this. Pretty soon, if it's a dog that isn't regularly off leash, he's going to get tired very quickly. He's going to run like a crazy person for a few minutes, and then he's going to start to get tired. The more tired he gets, the more he's going to slow down. The more he's going to slow down, the more likely he's going to feel you hit him in the head with a meatball. And then all of a sudden he's going to go, hey, anytime I come near you, you throw meat. And he's going to start looking at you and paying attention to you. And you do this till you get bored. And then when it's time to go, you pull out a food bowl from your pocket, you throw a couple of meatballs in, you put it on the ground, and you step back. When he goes over and puts his face in to grab the meatballs, you stand on his leash, you pick up the leash, and there goes a lovely building of the invisible leash session. This is a great way to start your dog understanding that paying attention to you when he's off leash is a great thing to do. So you want to review. To review what we've just talked about is notice through all of this, I never once called the dog. This is completely teaching your dog to like to pay attention to you, to want to stay with you, not because you're constantly calling him, but because you've strengthened that invisible leash. If every time your dog goes too far, you call him back, you're actually reinforcing your dog for going too far. Because if your recall has value, which you've done a great job, that means you're reinforcing him going too far. You want to, so every time you call him back, he goes too far, you call him back, he goes too far, you call him back, he goes too far, you call him back. You're building that go further and further and further. If instead with this, if we're going for an off-leash walk and my dog stops and looks at me, that's when I call him, because that's what I'm reinforcing. I'm reinforcing, pay attention to me when you're off leash. Don't forget I exist and think only about smells or other dogs or people or whatever. It's pay attention to me. Because good things happen when you pay attention to me. So you want to play this a lot. With puppies, their invisible leash starts to get longer at about 5 months old and continues to grow till they're about 9 months old. Usually I find by a year and a half, you kind of have the range your dog's going to be at. So I work really hard at keeping that range as small as I want, which for me is about 50 to 75 feet. Throughout till they're about a year and a half. So that means if you find the range getting longer, switch up where you're walking them off leash. Go a different direction on the trail. Go to a new location. Keep finding new places, because as soon as you expose them to somewhere they're not familiar, right away that's going to shorten their invisible leash. If you walk the same trail every day, your dog gets really good at, I can take off, and I know how long it's going to take you to get to this point. So there's no problem, right? I can take off, do whatever I want, and you'll be there when I get back. So that starts to stretch the invisible leash and lengthen it. And that's not what you want at that age. I find by the time they're a year and a half, too, they've kind of gotten into a rhythm of how far they go and how comfortable they are without seeing you. I get a lot of people whose dogs are doing really well, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, my dog's great, until he sees a person. Oh, my dog's great off leash, unless he sees another dog. So this is the first step to start to work on building you being more valuable than all the other distractions in the world. Okay, guys, that was my spiel for today. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see if you are, nope, I see no questions. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we will be back again next Friday at 10 a.m. to give you another Facebook Live. Please let me know your questions and suggestions for topics. Have a great day. Bye.